Welcome. As said, this is first academy of this year about the new Online ODIN Developer. You are probably all familiar with our current offline developer, which is a standalone application, which is basically built for a legacy system where we have added Nfield on. That means that offline developer has to be updated. That always takes a few weeks, and you actually have to update that offline developer. And there are lots of things that you can see because it is an offline developer. It would be much easier if we could integrate this into the manager, because that would bring a lot of capabilities, make a lot of capabilities available to that developer that we currently can't bring to it. So that is our the reason why we wanted an online developer. As you know, we are not the sort of a software company that builds for years and then releases something when we think it is completely baked. Rather, we want to iterate quick, release something that we think is useful, and then iterate on that until the point where we think, okay, we have added everything that makes sense to this. Well, the least available what a developer at least needs to do is it needs to be capable that you can develop your scripts in there, and that you can run your scripts in that. I think the online developer is at that point, and now we need to think, okay, what else does it make sense? What else makes sense to add to it? And what would be the most important thing to start adding to it now? And that's where you come in, because that's basically something is that we want to hear from you what should be added next. So what I will do in this session, I will show you what the current state is of that online developer, and that is basically you can create a script there, you can check your syntax, and you can run it. And along the way, I will point a few things what I think could be added. But again, what we really like to happen after the session is that you start using this to really start developing script, and then tell us what should be added next. So with that, let's go on to the next page. As I say, this will be a demo where I basically show you what the current state of this online developer is. So with that said, let's switch to the manager. That is here. And let's simply start creating a survey. So this will be the demo for Wednesday. Create an online survey. And we end up in the usual tab where until now you could upload a script, but we now also have the capability to create a script. And as soon as I click that, that brings me into the new online developer. We'll talk about all the options we have here once we start using this. But simply start creating a script. So as you can see, we have the commands available here. As soon as you start typing in something, that suggests the commands that starts with T. So I use template here, and I need to add a specific template. This is one of the other things. This is it's intelligence in the sense that it realizes that this is a command, and it starts suggesting the commands. Next thing that we could add, but we haven't added, is that we could add some more intelligence where we actually says, okay, you are choosing a template. This is an online developer that is in the manager, so it could know what templates are available, and it might at this point already suggest, okay, these are the templates that you could actually choose. As said, that is not something that we have built in. That is something we could build in. But again, we want to know from actual users if that would actually be useful to build in before we start putting effort to that. So that's template Nfield Chicago. And you might say, if I then can create a question, it will create which questions types I can have. L1, let's say this is the first question. And then, okay, yeah, very simple. I created a question. I have a button here where I can say, okay, check this question for me. And it will actually tell me error at line 3. There is a question argument missing, and it is complaining about using unfixed position. So we can already check this developer. Question argument missing is actually the question number. So if I check it now, it is only complaining about using unfixed positions, which I could fix by simply fixing it, and it will add the positions. And now, if I check it, it will be fine. Let's unfix it for now. Okay, what I will do for the next of this, then I will create a complete script. So we will meet all the other things that work and those things that don't work quite nicely at this moment, and everything that could be added. I will do that by creating a script that will use 2 new commands that we have introduced over the last few weeks, just to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. So you can immediately familiarize yourself with these new commands as well. First of that commands is the so-called segment command. And you might wonder, okay, what does that command actually do? Well, this is an online developer. You can actually hover over that command, and it will give you a very short hint of what this command actually is. And as it says, it starts a segment that can hold an arbitrary script. So that might say that looks like a block, but a block actually puts everything on the same page. On the same page in the interview. Segments simply segments of a part of script, and the advantage is that you can have a filter on a segment, and a segment can have an ID, and as soon as you give it an ID, you can actually route to that segment. So let's say this is a segment A, and as soon as I have given it an ID, I can actually route to that ID. An ID should not have a space. I can put any sort of question or questions needed into this segment. If I fix this now, it will complain that there is no end segment. I have started this segment, but a segment also needs an end. So let's create that end segment. End segment, there you see one of the things that currently is not completely up to scratch. It doesn't recognize the end segment because we haven't added this part. We haven't added this command to the highlighting syntax yet. But it is using a actually parser that knows this command, and you can see that because if I check it, it doesn't report this as a as an error. It reports this as an error because this needs a length. And again, it's only complaining about unfixed position. Now, why would you want to use a segment for? For instance, you could want to use a segment because you have different blocks in your survey and you want to have those blocks presented to the respondent in random order. Segment is ideal to do that. So let's create that script, but I will not create that script by typing it in from beginning to end. I did that yesterday and I made a few typing errors and it was very hard to catch these. So I will simply paste and copy and paste a script where I already have done this, and let's go over this script. So we have 3 segments. I could easily recognize these segments because I can click on segment and then it will actually highlight everything in the script where segment is used. So I have my first segment, which is called part A, where I simply ask 2 questions. I have given every question an ID, as you can see. One is a simple code question. The second one is a multi-code question. Then I have a second segment, part B, where I basically repeat the same questions, but with different numbers. And a third segment, part C, where again, I do the same questions, again, with different numbers. So what we want is a logic where we can jump from one segment to the other in random order. I set that logic up here. I create a dummy question where I gave all the ID names as level names here in this dummy question. I created an index. I put that on 1, and then I start a random repeat of 3 where I basically fill in the ID names of the segments randomly, either to position to index 1, 2, or 3 of the segment name index. I raise the index. That's where we end. So if we have run this repeat completely, we end on index 4. So what I then do is I put on index 4 done as a indication on index 4 that we are done with the random order. I put the index to 1 again, and then I jump to whatever the segment that is placed on the first position. You see here that I need to use the buffer here. That surprised me a bit when I created this survey yesterday, but if you think about it, it's quite logic because we have IDs here. IDs have as requirement that they need to be unique within all of these IDs. And this is a variable name. So actually something that we do here in text vars. Text vars have as requirement that they need to be unique among all the vars, but not that they need to be unique, that they need to be different from ID names as well. So that makes sense that we need to use the buffer command here, because otherwise this wouldn't know if I was referring to an ID or to a variable name, and I am referring to a variable name here. So it jumps to the first part, to the first segment named in the index. Then after each segment, we raise the index 1. We simply check if the index is done. That means that we are on the 4th part of the index if that is named done, and then we go to random segment complete. That is a question that I created at the end of all the 3 segments. So it simply jumps over the last of these segments. I use those letters here, done and segment completers. I think this is slightly more readable than just naming numbers here. If we are not done, we jump to the next of the segment, named segment. So let's actually see if this works. So that's the next thing that we can learn from our ODIN developer. We have a script. We want to save it. If we save it, we need to choose if we want to save this as a draft or if we want to save it for publish. If we save it as a draft, we simply save it and we can use it later. If we actually want to run this script at this moment, that means that we need to save it for publish. Create a save button. And I need to save something. No, I already fixed the script. So script was saved, no errors were found perfectly. So we can start running the script. So let's publish it. Fine. Start fieldwork. That is actually not needed for what I'm doing now, but it is needed for something I will do later. So let's start fieldwork before I forget it. Copy the test link. And let's simply see what we get. So we'll get our question, first question of the survey. That is correct, then is still that's this one. And after that, we have the logic that sets up our random route through those 3 sections. So after this, we should randomly set one of the sections, and indeed it's B. And that should get us to this one. And then we get the first question of A. And then the next one should be finally C. So this is working nicely. So let's close this one for now. So we have created segments and we have introduced some logic here where we randomly go from one segment to the other. And as you can see, I can create all of this already in the Online Developer. Now, next new command that I want to take a look at and at the same time learn a few things about the new ODIN Online Developer is this list. This is the list that I use in the multi-question each time. What we also did that we introduced a new command here, which is the so-called set command. Let's take a look at what that set command actually does. Before doing that, let's actually take one more look at that list. So okay, let's copy the test link again. Let's start this survey again. So to remind us what that list exactly looks like. So we are in part C. Let's remember that. So this is our list. For now, we see that this is a bit awkward because this list is a very long list. And in order to have a good idea of what this list exactly does, I would like to have this list on a page without much scrolling. So let's do that. Let's go to section C, because that is where our current interview is running in. So that is this part C. Let's go to our multi-question and set we don't want this to be a long list, or a list in one column. So we do a UI option and we say, and you see a nice feature of the Online Developer. As soon as I open something that needs to be closed, it immediately does the closing as well. And I can start typing. So this is columns is 3. That should probably be it. Let's save it. And let's publish it. And let's say needs to be upgraded. So this is one of the perks for having an online developer. I can now very quickly push this. I can simply go to the script that I already have open and say Control F5, continue, and it should immediately pick up the changes I made to that script, and it does. It now puts everything into 3 columns, which makes it a lot easier to see what is going on in this list. So we have a list, we have a brand model. We have brand A with different models here. Brand A is, as you can see, alphabetized from A to F. We have brand B, the same, alphabetized from A to E. We have brand C, which is not alphabetized, it's B, A, C. And then we have finally brand D, again, alphabetized A to F. So that's our list. Let's actually now start looking at the new commands that we have created to organize this list. And that command is the so-called set command. Set, there it is. And what set, we can group those lists into different sets. You might think, okay, we already have the group command for that. Yes, we have, but the set command gives you a few more capabilities than the group commands. Let's take a look at that, but let's first create all these sets. And that means if I test this now, it will say that there is an end set missing. So I need to create an end set. And if I test it now, it will start saying that I'm using set, but I'm part of this list is using set and other part need not, and that is not allowed. As soon as you use set, the entire list must be divided into sets. So let's do that. We have here brand A set. We have brand B. We want to be a set. We want to be a set. We want brand C to be a set. And then finally end set. We want brand D to be a set. And that set needs to be ended as well. And end set. Again, as you see, the end set is another one which our syntax highlighter does not know yet. Let's check this, make sure that we haven't missed anything. We haven't missed anything. So we have created them in sets. Let's immediately also, now let's first do this and see how this changes our list. Probably not by much, because all we did was create sets. So we say publish. We go to our script again, we say Control F5, and there will not be much change because we have created sets, but we already had spaces in between here. But at least we formalized this now as having sets, which means that we can start doing things here. First things that we could start doing here is actually give these sets names. We do this by simply going to the next line. Say this is brand A, this is brand B, this is brand C, and finally this is brand D, save this again, publish it, upgrade the interview we are running. And let's see what happens. And now, as you can see, we have those headings nicely here. You might think, yeah, well, this is something that we already can do because we also have the star heading command. Yeah, that is true. But now we actually get into the things that you can do with sets that you cannot do with groups and headings. First thing, let's say that I want to randomize these sets. I want to randomize these sets in different orders. So we do that by going to, again, section C, which is here, go to the question, this question, and then simply say star random, and that will randomize the sets. So let's take a look at that. Go to here, Control F5. And as you can see, it has now neatly randomized the sets. C, B, A, D, the sets are now randomized. Within the sets, things are still in the order as they are in the list. So these are all in alphabetical order. And brand C not, because that one isn't in alphabetical order in the list either. So again, this is something that you still could do in a group, but now we actually get to the point of why you would want to use set. Because for instance, let's say I want to add another one here, another A21 code here, don't know, or none of these. None of these. None of these. Let's also give that an ID. ID. None. Okay, if I check this now, it will be an error because this needs to be in a set. So let's actually place this in a set. And set, let's also do this correctly and make this into a not multi, because you cannot know a brand and then also choose none of these. This will work, but this will also still randomize the set as it will do if you are using group commands. And one of the perks of using sets is that I can now actually say for this particular set, stop random, and then it will not randomize this set. Again, let's quickly look at that. Publish this, upgrade it. And Control F5. Continue. So it has now still randomized our different sets, but none of these is tied to the last one because we said do not randomize this one. So this is already a control that group does not give you. But you probably say, okay, I also want to randomize actually the content of these sets as well. You can very easily do this by simply on the set say random, and that will then randomize the content of this particular set. Again, something that we can very quickly check. Let's upgrade. And let's again refresh our tests. And we have randomized A, and as you can see, A is indeed now randomized, A, C, E, so this is randomized, while all the other sets are still in their order as they are in the list. So If you want to randomize the actual content of the set, you simply put a random on set, and that will randomize the content of the set. So if I also want to randomize the content of B, that means that I then need to have a random here as well. Now, suppose I say, yeah, I want to randomize the content of A, I want to randomize the content of B, but actual model F is such a special model that should always be at the last position of brand A. Then I can simply say at this point, say stop random, and it will not randomize F while still randomizing the rest of A and randomizing B. So let's take a look at that. And why does that say here? Oh yeah, I put the random at the wrong place. It should not be on the name. It should actually be on the set. If I check it now, it's fine. So save it, publish it, upgrade our current test. And again, let's refresh our test. And now we should have randomized B, and we do A, D, E. A should be randomized. It is, but F should be at the last position. D, we have not put we had not put any randomized option on D, so D should still be in the order, and it is. One last thing to show on this new set command. As you can see, we also have a set C, where we actually have not the models in random order. Let's say we actually want these orders. We want these models in random order. Then all we have to do on this set is actually use the sort command on this set and say this should be sorted. It's English, the culture is English. Save this and publish it again. Publish. Okay. And then refresh our culture. And as you can see, C is now neatly sorted. A, B, C. B is still in random order. A is still in random order, with the exception of F. D is still in the order as in the list, and our none of these is still tied to the last position. This is all the features I wanted to show from the set command. So let's finish our interview. We were still at C, so if I now continue this interview, it should randomly start one of the other sections, which is A. I did not put a column I did not put that column command on A, so this is still one long list, but it is using the list, so it's still A in random order, etc., etc. And then it should go to B, I think. Same question, and then it should finish our interview. So this is to give you a very quick feeling of what it is to create surveys in the online developer. And as you can see, everything that you need to create surveys is available. I even think that you can much easier check your surveys because you are in the online developer. You can have hints of what some of these commands actually do. What we will add the coming time is at least make sure that we have some more control over the kind of fonts and the sizes of those fonts that you can use here, because there is nothing here. There is something here. If you actually right click here, you can open a command palette. This comes with the framework that we use to build the developer in. That gives you some capabilities as increasing the font size. I should go to increase the editor font size. You can decrease it, but this is something that we really want to have in a menu here. Other things that we will add the coming months, that some of those survey requirements that you have, that we will start spreading this over different tabs. So for instance, the text vars and the list, that we actually put those in a different tab. All the translations that you might have, put these in a different tab. So you can concentrate on the actual questions and the routing that you have in your main editor. That was everything that I wanted to show for now. So let's close this one. Are there any questions at this point?
Yes, there are questions. You already talked. Yeah, I'm back. You were talking already about multiple language questions. That was a question. Hello, is it possible to create a script in multiple languages? So you suggest do it by multiple tabs?
Yeah. No. Actually, I think that question is, is it actually possible to add language? Yeah, everything you can do in the online developer as far as scripting is concerned, you can do here. And you can do it in exactly the same way as you are used to as doing it in the online developer. So if you want to add a language section, it's simply a question of adding the *long command of star language, and then start adding your translations there. The only thing that we will do in the coming months is actually make it easier to organize that by organizing those languages in a different tab. So it will make it easier for you to organize those languages. But everything you can do currently in these translations in the offline developer, you can do in the online developer already.
Yeah, good to confirm. The second question that we had, Frank, was about the annotation for some individual keywords. On the screen now, for example, you see end segment, and only the end seem to be colored, and the rest. Is that a bug, or is that by design?
That's not a bug. That is simply this colorization takes place on a file that is in there, and that file needs to be updated. That this end segment is actually a command, and that it should be completely colorized. So that is simply a question of updating the actual syntax file in here. But that is only about the colorization. It actually knows that this is a command, because otherwise it would report this as an error. So yeah, that is simply something that we need to get into the habit of actually making sure that we update the syntax file for these online developers as well, so that it actually knows such a new syntax. So yeah, it's I won't call it a bug. I will call it an oversight at this point. And,
okay, all clear. Those are the questions so far.
Okay. Okay, then let me go back to the presentation. So we got to the questions, the final remarks, and I think the most important thing in the final remarks is, okay, can I actually use this? Let me say from current slide. Yes, I think everything that you can do in the offline developer, as far as creating scripts, as far as writing scripts, you can do in the online developer as well. I actually tested this with very large scripts, and that also works very well. It takes some time to upload the script because it needs to parse that script, but once that is uploaded, the response times in the online developer are perfectly fine. So we will enable this online developer for all non-Kantar customers before next week. So hopefully by the end of this week, but otherwise early next week, all non-Kantar customers need to start seeing that button that you can actually either create a script or edit a script once a script is already uploaded to that domain. All contact customers, please write to your help desk if this feature can be enabled for you. These were my final remarks. Any new questions?
Yes. Yeah, a question we also got yesterday. Once the script is built online, can we download the script for offline edits?
Yeah. What you can do here, let me go to the online developer. Here. So I already created the script here. I will go one step back. So this is the script we created. Let's go to setup. And I can either start editing the script. I can upload a new script and overwrite the script I have, or download the script that I have created. So this will download my script. I can then edit it somewhere else and then actually upload it again. Other question that we had yesterday is, what if I want to use the FAR file, because that one we have no export for a FAR file, but actually if you download data from the manager, you can also actually choose to download the FAR file. So that is also something that you could completely do for that you can completely do inside the manager without the need of stepping out to the offline developer. There was a new question coming in.
Yeah, a couple of questions. So okay. Similarly to the previous question, what if I upload a script? Can I edit it online?
Yeah, you upload it, and as soon as the script is uploaded, you can click on the edit button and you can start editing that script online.
Okay, good. More questions. You were talking about collecting ideas from improvements of the online editor. How should people submit their feedback?
Write to your help desk, and the help desk will make sure that that comes to the correct location. If it's unclear, I will start a conversation on what it exactly is that you need.
Okay. And it somebody refers to that if there is a roadmap in place, but I think we'll take the request by one, right?
Exactly. What we already will do at this point is create those ads, and we will create those steps and then create make sure that you have a little bit more control over the fonts that you are using inside that online developer. If it was up to me, the first thing I would like to add to this is, well, let's actually add it. We now need to publish everything. We now need to save everything for publish in able to run a survey. If it was up to me, the first thing I would add is actually, if I save it as a draft, I want to run it, and I want to run it exactly the same way as I showed you during the demo of all those set commands. I want to be able to have a room there, make my changes, put F5 there, and then actually see what those changes, what that actually does to that script. But that is something that is very geared to how I am using this, because I am constantly testing this sort of thing. That might actually not something that a real scripter is eager to start using. But if it was up to me, this was the first thing that we would be adding. Okay.
Yeah.
But
documentation
is actually up to you, not to me.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
No. Okay. Sorry, Frank. Documentation on the online developer, is that available in the usual
That
place?
will be created. That is not available now. But what we will start creating that.
Yeah, and the final question was somebody already suggesting new functions to be added, but as Frank said, please submit to support, and then we'll pick it up there.
Okay, good. And so let's go to. So thank you, and no more questions. And thank you, and talk to you next time. And our next academy will probably be about security and compliance. Thank you.
Thank you.
Talk to you next time. Bye-bye.